Danny, NEO Battery Materials has been one of the most high performance stocks in the entire Canadian market in the last year. What do you attribute your success to?
So, what we attribute our success to is, first of all, the fundamental increase in the value of our company. And that is driven by the technology breakthroughs that we've had for the past few months. So, our silicon anode products, we have had the highest capacity as well as the highest cycling retention, which just means that the materials are stable when we charge and discharge the battery. So, we've had success on the technology front. And with the technology came the advanced agreements. And especially last October, we had our first joint development agreement with the Fortune Global 500 company, and then strategic partnerships with large companies in the value chain. And then just 2 weeks ago, we announced our $100 million investment into Windsor, Ontario to construct Canada's first advanced silicon anode manufacturing facility. And as everybody knows, silicon anodes is a key material that will increase the battery capacity in the short and midterm. So we are on our high efforts to commercialize this technology as soon as possible.
So, of course, I think it's fair to say that I think a lot of people have a misunderstanding that you are not a Canadian company and that most of your work is in South Korea. Would you like to update everybody?
Yes, absolutely. So for full disclosure, we are a Ontario incorporated company with presence in South Korea. I think that's the best way to state it. So for the past 4 years since we have been in operations, we started off in South Korea because China, South Korea, and Japan, those are the three main countries that have been specializing in battery manufacturing and technology. So we wanted to take advantage of the knowledge base and infrastructure and know-how there. So that's why we started off in South Korea. But now what we ultimately want to do is that we want to bring the technology that we have built into Canada so that we can make Canada a powerhouse for the battery value chain. And especially from Bloomberg NEF's study done, where they rank countries by the potential in their battery supply chain rankings, Canada is actually number first and China is number two. So what that means is that Canada has so much potential to become the strongest nation for batteries. So we also want to state that we are a pioneer within Canada, developing and manufacturing Canada's first silicon anodes.
You know, honestly, Danny, I could not have scripted that better. So let's bring up the obvious next question. Trump's tariffs. How will that impact you?
Yes, so we've heard a lot of concerns, and the Canadian market and the global markets have been a frenzy since Trump has announced his tariffs and the retaliatory tariffs from Mexico and Canada as well. But thankfully, those have been delayed for 28 days, and we hope that 28 days becomes 2,800 days, first of all. So, but thankfully, it has been on a stop. But we do see that especially Canada's auto sector has been in quite a precarious situation because most of the value adding components for EVs and automobiles are made here in Canada. So we've seen that investment might suffer from this overall sector, and the tariffs might actually elongate the EV chasm as well. But thankfully, those have come to a stop. But for us, NEO Battery Materials, where we differentiate ourselves is that silicon anodes are known as a must material that must be implemented into EVs. So for us, the start of production is somewhere around 2027, 2026. So that is why we are not too concerned with the timelines that are presented, even if the tariffs are in place. So we want to supply to Canadians first and to other parts globally as well to avoid those tariffs if those are still in place. But looking at the overall big picture or the forest, we aren't too concerned because silicon anode demand is going to rise by the years to come.
Of course, you've been incredibly competitive in our market, securing partnerships with Fortune 500 company, for instance. Will you be disclosing that to the shareholders at anytime soon?
Yes, and that's also something that we want to do as soon as possible. And for the Fortune Global 500 company, we're still under R&D. So through more advanced agreements, we do hope to announce their names. But also for 2025 and the years to come, one of the main areas that will drive as a key catalyst are these advanced agreements like joint development, offtake, and strategic investments by battery cell manufacturers and EV automakers. And when those announcements come, we do know that those will be undisclosed. There will be disclosed names, so we will be able to announce those names pretty soon.
I've watched your company for a number of years now, and you're always exceeding expectations with the milestones you're achieving. So, dare I ask what we should expect in this upcoming quarter?
Absolutely. So for the upcoming quarter, we are actively commercializing both in South Korea as well as Canada. So these construction updates will be ongoing. And also to add on top of that, we also have technology updates for our shareholders as well, especially with high capacity and high cycling retention. NEO Battery Materials is one of the lowest cost producers, if not the lowest cost producer in the global battery value chain. So that is why we have some significant technology updates for our shareholders and stakeholders. And on top of that, as I just briefly mentioned, the partnerships as well as the advanced agreements, those are something to look out for as well.
Well, you heard it here first. Thank you so much, Danny. And we wish you the best here as you hit 2025 running. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Tracy.